Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribe Star. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, that's me with all the noise because I live on a very busy street here in Edmonton. That's the cars you're hearing right now. Welcome to the extra episode for the week of 383. So this is Red Pill Nation Hangout number 384. The carryover from 383, and God damn, did we ever go long on 383. Not the longest episode I've ever had, but pretty damn close. I went to bed immediately afterward. But yeah, there was a reason why we went long. There were some heavy topics on that one. There might actually be some interesting topics on this one as well. But let's just find out. Well, I am your host and brave, intrepid podcaster, the Rookie Five. With me tonight is, of course, Rearson. It's his off night from the aliens in the gimp suit, so he's got plenty of time to talk tonight. So, Rearson, introduce yourself.
Well, I assure you I have not spoken. If I see any aliens, it's going to make me wish I had a shotgun. But enough of the illegal border crossings. And I don't mean that seriously. Fuck. I think this is going to be my second last show. Well, this will be my last unscheduled show, and I think it's going to be... Excuse me. It's going to be two more, and that's going to basically be it. I went out to my future spot in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere, and my God, there's nothing there. And I'm so looking forward to it. But I'll keep Neurokeep posted with that, and of course, well, it is what it is, or what it will be, what it will be. So I'll leave it at that.
Don't bother looking on the map trying to find butt fuck nowhere, Alberta. B.
Well, it's actually right next to downtown Gibson.
Actually, with the way they're feeling towards Star Wars, it's right beside I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm V, and yes, host of the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show, documentarian, cult researcher, science journalist, yada 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 yada. Go to tlvtalk.com if you want to talk to me. It's up. Please help us test out this version, this beta of the site. Go make a profile, socialize, post your truths. Hey, find me if you can.
I definitely will. Actually, I've completely forgot all about that. I got the invite to come back. Come back.
Come on back. That's right. All right, let's go.
Hold on. All right, for those of you who don't know, I am at Patreon as the Rookie 5. I am at MGTOW TV, BitChute, Brighteon, Odyssey, Rumble. I am at Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, Getter, TLB Talks, and that is it for now. It used to be on Reddit. Here's an interesting one, and hopefully we won't go off too long on this one. But apparently, Reddit has decided that the term "okay groomer" is harassment, and you can get banned off of Reddit for posting that. Somebody about 2 hours after that happened came up with a new term. It's now called "okay predator," and that has not been banned yet. So,
keyword yet.
Yeah. Well, no, at some point Reddit's luck, just like what's happening with YouTube and Google. And I was talking about YouTube and Google a lot before we started tonight. Reddit's luck is going to run out at some point. There is going to be a viable competitor to Reddit at some point. The issue that they've had so far with Reddit is that the alternatives have either been diehard, like Ruckus, for instance, where they were diehard leftists and were banning basically they're basically like Reddit light. Or you had situations like Poll or Vote where they allowed the same sort of thing to happen, but it came from the right as opposed to the left. And for whatever reason, they have not been able to strike that balance. Yet somebody is going to come along that is going to be able to strike that balance. And when that happens, Reddit is toast. But that's for neither here nor there. Okay, the stuff we missed, topic number one, which is the one I definitely had to push to 384. Consequences for Amandla Stenberg over her diss video of fans. I don't know why I called Amandla Stenberg his. Maybe I'm being subtly indoctrinated without knowing it.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels. Sorry. But he's
the power of woke compelled me. Yes, that's what it was. That's totally what it was. The power of woke compelled me. Topic number two, Tommy Robinson arrested in Calgary. Topic number three, which I think is kind of tied in with topic number two. Labour Party wins Great Britain election. Boy, did they ever win. Topic number four, Marine Le Pen wins first round of French election. And 5, tractor supplied backs away from DEI after getting caught. Now, I was going to thought about bringing it tractor supply 2 weeks ago, but I didn't think it was a big enough story until they backed away and the mainstream media lost their shit. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the first topic, which is, of course, Amandla Stenberg. Now, what could I possibly say about Amandla Stenberg that hasn't already been said? You know, it is very, very clear that she has been completely and absolutely indoctrinated. Like she has completely drank the Kool-Aid of the system. I remember her from the first movie of the Hunger Games. Is the only other thing that I remember seeing her in, and I remember liking her character. And of course, you know, critical Drake. As we're now in episode 6 of the Acolyte, and it's not getting any better. Amandla Stenberg has had her acting, like, now this is I think the first time she's had a legit heavy duty lead, and her acting range is just, it's obvious that she doesn't have a particularly good acting range, or she is not a particularly good actor. The writers just continue. I mean, they kind of rebounded for episode 5, and then they went back to being stupid again for episode 6. But even in episode 5, there were a lot of mistakes. What Amandla Stenberg did after episode 4 is that she made this diss video of the fans, of the fans, and she tried to play herself off as the victim. As we found out this week, turns out Amandla Stenberg did this on her own without consulting any of the executives or any of the leadership, either with Disney or at the Acolyte. Yeah. What
Dumb
can
cunt.
I
Dumb
possibly
fucking cunt.
say? The net result was, and I think this is probably because I think a lot of the people have figured out, a lot of the executives, even in Disney, like even the ones who are woke, are starting to clue into the fact, because everybody keeps fucking telling them that the show is crap, and that all of the insults that the mainstream media keeps putting out is only making the situation worse. By the way, they still kept doing it. They actually tried to make Amandla Stenberg's video. They tried to make her look like a hero. And of course, she tried to make herself look like a hero until she got absolutely ratioed into oblivion. And she put her video and she protected her tweets on her Twitter account, but not before somebody graciously, and I do mean graciously, downloaded the video for everyone to see. Disney got so desperate over this that they actually asked YouTube to start doing copyright strikes on anybody who posted up the video, which is why when I post this up, it's like the video of Amandla Stenberg dancing. I'm almost tempted to do a second video where I post it up at the other channels where she is doing this. They only were doing it to small channels, though. The ones that have a record for fighting them in court, like say the Quartering, for instance, or Nerdrotic, or any of those, they didn't dare try to threaten them with a copyright strike, although they did demonetize their content for the nth goddamn time, which is of course Jeremy Hambling immediately called up his half Asian super lawyer, and has had a half Asian super lawyer, got somebody on YouTube, and that got solved real quick. The whole situation was that Amandla Stenberg didn't consult with anybody at Disney before doing this, or at any of the leadership of the Acolyte. The consequences of this, besides the fact that she's now gone into deep hiding, is the fact that and I can't believe that they were actually going to do this. They were going to do another series after the Acolyte starring Amandla Stenberg, and they had her lined up to do some other stuff. She doesn't have that anymore. Like, it's gone. Very strong suspicion that she will not be coming back to Disney in any capacity after this, which should come as no surprise. Like a lot of actors in Hollywood, they had a big ego, and Amandla, and I mean, I understand that, that actors get really tightly involved with their characters and the projects that they're working on. They want these projects to work. A lot of them are in that bubble, though, and most of them, for the most part, don't know how to get out of that bubble, or they don't want to get out of that bubble. And even though Amandla Stenberg is the daughter of I think either a Danish multimillionaire or a billionaire, so she's not really ever had to worry about herself financially. Like, she's never had to sweat it out and pay 2 weeks of rent and then wait for the next check to come in and pay 2 more weeks of rent, like I've had to on occasion. In fact, I had to do it just a little over a year ago at one point. The whole situation is that she tried to, and she's not even fully white, she's only half white, right? So I mean, and she tries to play herself off as the victim and doesn't even bothered to consult with anybody. So now she is gone because she took a bad situation with the Acolyte, and they made it a lot worse. And by the way, yes, Disney and the Hollywood media are still desperately trying to put out articles to try to change the public opinion on this. And the only people who are getting fooled are the ones that are either like are like the ones that just get their pablum and wear a diaper, or they want to be fooled. Which, by the way, is a substantially large number. But I mean, the thing I'm going to specifically remember about this show is the way they tried to gaslight everybody into thinking the show had done better than it actually had on the first two episodes, and then they kept doubling down on it even after it was clearly shown that they were lying. Yeah, I'm personally amazed that they haven't just hidden the ratings, the viewership ratings for this show altogether. I don't know what else Star Wars has got planned. But I mean, the damage, and I'm also going to throw this out about, well, first of all, this is in two parts. The damage that the Acolyte has done to the Star Wars brand is almost irreparable. Like, they're not going to it's going to require, if Amazon, for instance, tries to buy it, and I'm not all that keen on Amazon, but if another studio or Amazon attempts to buy, and then Disney will probably have to start selling off franchises here at some point because they're just losing money hand over fist, and they just don't want to do the changes that they want because, making changes, they can do it voluntarily, but they don't want to do it voluntarily, so they're going to be forced to make it. If I've been in a situation where I've been forced to make major changes in my life because of circumstances, and it's fucking painful and difficult, and Disney wants the pain because because they're masochistic about it or something. I don't know. And of course, you also have the stuff going on with OMG at the same time. The part with Amandla Stenberg is that rich mixed race girls trying to put themselves off as the victim when they come from, at least from a financial point of view, a place of very privileged existence. Not good. And Disney's, they're gonna have to sell this. They're gonna have to sell Star Wars off because, I mean, the damage that's done. I mean, they're not gonna get it back, at least not as long as Kathleen Kennedy is running the show. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
I really wish. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm using the right microphone here. It's not like this person had a sex tape, right? It's not like
It's a nasty thought.
that something was leaked that, I didn't see the video, so I don't know how profane it is, but I don't see what the big deal is. These companies act like they own people, and I know you gotta keep up with an image, and that image, you gotta keep up the Joneses, but it's ridiculous. If somebody wants to make a total jackass out of himself for the public, let them do so. I mean, it's not like all the Disney child stars just don't turn into total freaking sluts, right? It's not like they have the best reputation for having the most wholesome people. I mean, that's the image that they want to portray, but we've got these horny little MK Ultra sluts, all the way to these pedophile rings underneath the damn amusement parks. So I think their concerns are a little bit misguided. They need to work on the other things because this is relatively minor compared to those other things. So why the other things aren't being addressed, I don't know. But they really need to work on that. If they're so concerned about their image, they've got to have contracts, and I'm sure this lady does. But for the sake of the image of Disney, they need to make those contracts a lot longer. By the way, these child stars can't get arrested for drugs. You can't have sex tapes. You can't do any of this stuff until you're 40. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who this person is, but she sounds kind of awful. I don't have much to say on it. So, Pearson, go ahead.
Oh, so the female version of Danny Glover realized that a little bit too little too late that she made a mistake. Oh, Muffin. God. I think her dancing is better than her acting, and that's not good to begin with already as it is. Fuck. Oh, well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get when you hire to check as many blue boxes, get as many blue check marks as is possible. As Hedlund has started to figure out, as Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want to admit defeat, but when you start flipping the bird to your audience, you're going to cut off your source of income. Now, I don't know about you, but I suppose that this truly is, in a sense, corporate socialism, because Disney's burning through cash, as Nerd said, hand over fist. And the people that are giving to them at this point are those that have deep pockets and expecting some sort of a return. Mind you, it is possible that this could very well be companies, corporations, whatever, of the likes of BlackRock that are still doling it out. I don't know. I really honestly don't care. And as it has been pointed out, either in people's comments on YouTube, I've said it already and I'll say it again, or within more honest, such a word could be said, critique as to what Disney is doing wrong with all of this. Not Disney, Lucasfilm. I'm the one who decides if I'm going to expose Star Wars to my son. He's already jumped into it and whatnot, and he knows quite a bit. And again, we went to go see episode 1. He already knew what the whole thing was all about. He also played the Star Wars Lego games. So, in one form or another, it was a big spoiler alert, but we enjoyed it. And again, they had... I'm going to have to take from Chatter something or other. He's a YouTuber, Canadian, and he's apparently been in the industry. Been there as a producer and as a writer and whatever else. He calls the the Acolyte the ejaculate, because that's really all it is. It's just Disney spurging out and spraying everything possible. So that's what I'm calling from this point going forward. So anything and everything to do with the ejaculate, I have nothing to do with it. Again, I walked out immediately, so I saw the logo, the ejaculate. I was just like, fuck this, I'm gone. So I'm not taking anything that DSW is putting out anymore, because unless it's Andor, but even then, I'm going to wait until it gets pirated and I can grab it. But Stenberg...
There you go.
Stenberg has to be... I thought that Rachel Zegler was the epitome of fucking stupid within the Disney Corporation, who beat out Cheese Larson, who beat out... And there was that... the actress for She-Hulk. She's an idiot as well, too. Oh, and can't forget, again, Mark Ruffalo or Mark Hamill, for that matter. Also two fucking morons. But I thought we hit the bottom when we had Rachel Zegler. No, folks, I'm sorry. And this is said already as well, too. I mean, Stenberg is now the female version of Danny Glover's kid. The antics that he pulled, who, like Lando Calrissian, was happy to stick his dick literally into a light socket. So, fuck, whatever. And I mean, if nothing says pansexual, then fucking a robot. I don't know what does. So, whatever chip is on this woman's shoulders doesn't matter to me, because I don't care. I really honestly don't care. But on an impulse, feeling so ticked off that she has been thoroughly, let's be honest with ourselves here, folks, she has been thoroughly rejected by the fan base, by the fandom. Obviously did not sit very well with her. And I suppose as a what would seem to be more or less your atypical modern woman, her emotions got the better of her. She didn't fucking think of, to take a step back or two and just kind of go, is this going to be a good idea? Should I consult someone? No, fuck this. I'm going to go and piss off the entire... I'm going to piss off as many people as possible. And if she wants to be screaming and yelling and whatever else that's the white fanboy base, okay, fine. Have to ask what her father's all about and what is he like in her life. Maybe he's a wokester. I don't know. I really don't care. I don't see that she's going to have a career to speak of once the ejaculate is all over. And thankfully, there's only 2 more episodes left. And I just really don't give a shit anymore. I've got more important things in my life that I need to work on, focus on. And as much as I love Star Wars, and I do, I can't give these people any more attention than they're already on the short end of my attention span. It's not quite as bad as a goldfish when it comes to Star Wars. Sorry, DSW. But truth be told, I'm having a lot more fun watching them fail time and again and again and again. I mean, fuck. Disney. Actually, let's take a quick look here. Last I had heard, Disney stock was well enough under $100. Hasn't gone below about 98, but I'm just going to take a look here. Disney stock is currently sitting at $97.99 per share. So everything that's been going on, Iger. The problem with Disney stock is that it's Iger, and that's the only nice way that I can say that. I mean, Disney stock over the last month had a high of $102.74 to where it is now. That's about a $5 drop. It may not seem like very much, but it's a lot. Year-to-date numbers, it peaked at about $122. That's still when Peltz was, well, puffing them up. But even then, those fuckers still screwed up. So, since Disney does not have any real clear direction, fuck. Disney stock peaked at just over $200 in. That was in. Oh, that was about the time that Carano got fired. That was in early March 2021. So, yeah.
So they've lost half their stock value since they got rid of Carano. Oh, wow.
Yep. So, now that wasn't Disney specifically, that was Lucasfilm, but Lucasfilm, Star Wars is part of Disney. So, no one that I can see is going to accept responsibility for anything that's happened here. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's not up to me for what they're doing right or wrong, whatever else the case may be. I don't care. And as I said, Disney is turning into a tragic comedy of corporate epic proportions. So, guys, keep it up. I want to see the stock drop even further. I want to see Bob Iger fucking sweat and wish they'd never gotten involved in all of this. So, my apologies for ranting and raving on this one. It is all yours. Oh. Okay, yep, I'm done.
All right. Oh, hi. Hello, Angel. Just hold on a second here. I got a couple points to throw in here. I don't know who it was before Brie Larson. I was willing to overlook Brie Larson because boobs
Ruffalo.
and
Ruffalo. It was either Ruffalo or it would have been Mark Hamill.
Ruffalo was the stupid that just keeps giving. He did something stupid again. Gina Carano called him out. I didn't throw it in because I didn't think it was significant enough. But yeah, Ruffalo did something really stupid again.
What do you do now? He does stupid things.
I don't know. I don't specifically recall. He tweeted something and Carano called him out for it, and he. Yep.
It was Ruffalo posting a picture of, here we go again, and it looked like it was like the it was either the Nuremberg trials or it was something to do with Nazi Germany, and this is the follow.
Oh yeah, and Carano called him up because Carano basically posted up a photo of a German gathering. Here's the thing: Carano posted the specific photo that Carano posted up involved a guy in Germany by the name of August Langmasser. If you don't know who August Langmasser is, a lot of people haven't seen this photo. There is this one rather famous. It has made the rounds on the internet. There's a whole group of people, all of them giving the Hitler salute, and there's this one guy who's standing there in the middle of the crowd with his arms crossed defiantly. That guy's name is August Langmasser. The reason why August Langmasser did not give the Hitler salute was because he was in love with a Jewish woman, and it was suspected that he had actually been harboring this woman secretly in his place it was more or less, they weren't allowed to get married, but I mean, she was effectively living undercover at his place. And he got found out and he disappeared, and so did his live-in wife, who was actually there being secured by August Longmuster. Of course, when Corona posted that up, it was explained to some of the woke idiots what that was, but apparently, that asking them to check facts would be like, well, they just don't do that. And I mean, I've had a couple. I could get into a couple of personal anecdotes about people who don't check shit right now. But again, right, I overlooked it. Kind of actually, Bree at least appeared to have some type of a awareness that what she was doing was messed up and that she needed to change, because for the most part she has. She also has a luscious rack. Rachel Zegler is
Aha! That's why you like her.
Rachel, and also there was also a wicked porno parody done of the of Captain Marvel, which was in a strange kind of way better than the actual movie itself. The Rachel Zegler, on the other hand, I mean, again, a lot of that was just the way the production was handled, but Zegler just could not keep her mouth shut. Now, apparently, yeah, well, that was probably the case too. Apparently, she also possessed enough self-awareness to shut the hell up afterwards, because I mean, rumor has it that they're even talking about potentially re-releasing Snow Brown and the 7 vertically challenged individuals again here at some point. But then, if you thought Zegler couldn't get worse, along comes Amandla Stenberg, and she just absolutely makes you forget about Rachel Zegler and Brie Larson. And it's like my thought process on this is, who the hell is next? Like, can they get worse than Amandla Stenberg? Can they get worse than Amandla Stenberg? That's where I'm at with this. Well, and with that,
again, we were thinking that it couldn't get any worse than Rachel Zegler. So every time we hit a new they hit a new low. There's always room for more.
Well, I mean, yeah, they just keep, and of course the She-Hulk actress, and you're gonna love this one. She's pissed that the show got canceled, and she literally talks about the silent majority of viewers at a show that supported the show, and it's like, sorry, what silent majority, man? The ratings kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah, shocker, but not shocked. Anyway, I'll shut my mouth.
Anyway, let's continue. I mean, that is pretty much it for that episode. Yeah, nothing. I would. You can, Angel. Yeah, you can jump in here on topic number 2. But yeah, we're done with this particular topic, unless you got something really quick to say.
Well, I was gonna jump into the whole Disney stock issue with Lucasfilms, and if you might give me a minute on that, I'd love to expand a little bit on that.
Okay, don't take too long, but go ahead.
No, I won't go too over. It's just something that I've talked about briefly on my podcast, and it's something that I think a lot of fans don't take away with. Is a lot of this stuff that's being done with Disney and Lucasfilms. It's stuff that is being done by Kathleen Kennedy allowing it, and Bob Iger allowing it, which we all know already, and I'm sure it's been talked about. The problem is, why are the stockholders not being more vocal on the fact that they're hemorrhaging money at this point? And a lot of the money they've lost also is because of all the overspending with like Fox Studios and stuff they did, which people are like, well, what does that got to do with Lucasfilms? Well, a lot, because remember, 20th Century Fox distributed Star Wars. They held on to TV rights, certain characterization rights, certain things that they had with George Lucas themselves went over to now Disney as Disney property, so they expected to make more money off of that. Why that didn't occur, it's simple, because when you put people that are not loving of the material like Kathleen Kennedy, just put her there as a producer who has her own agenda, you're going to get the nonsense that we've been going through. The problem is not just Lucasfilms. We're talking about other properties. Marvel is also in the same kind of dilemma with all this woke nonsense. Uh, it's Snow White, which comes out next year, or Snow Brown, as you called it earlier, is also being affected. And yeah, a lot of the actors involved, like Brie Larson and the girl who is playing Snow White, what's her name?
Rachel
Jeez.
Zegler.
Rachel Zegler, yeah, Rachel Zegler. Sorry, blanked out for a second there. I had my Biden moment. Sorry, Rachel Zegler, who I didn't hate. I have no reason to hate her as a person, other than I think she said some really stupid things, but she has calmed down a little bit. I didn't mind her in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I thought she was good in that. I didn't hate that movie. I thought it was a decent enough adaptation. Actually, I gave it like I believe a 7 on IMDb when I saw it. The first one. The second one, uh, Fury of the Gods. The sequel was not as good as the first one, but it wasn't an awful movie. Wasn't nowhere near the Flash or Blue Beetle bad or anything like that. It was a little bit better, but I think a lot of the fan base is trying to like have that backlash to DC, which I was actually just live on YouTube talking about the new Superman movie, and some of that backlash is starting to like jump over to the DC properties because of the actors involved and the directors. And speaking of director, we have James Gunn, who did Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, now doing Superman, and the hate for him from fans are jumping over to this movie. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes, between the lines, that we're not aware of. And the problem is, why hasn't stockholders been more vocal? Why hasn't the actual people behind a lot of these bad ideas not been more vocal? The fans have also trusted a little too much of people like Dave Filoni and some of the people in charge of Lucasfilms for the franchise, thinking that they're going to be the saviors, where they've been involved in some of the bad things that have come out of Lucasfilms, for example, and they've been okay with it and promoted it, like The Acolyte. It's a horrible show. But they've gone on record saying they like it. So I can't really trust a lot of these people to give us what the fans want, because it seems like it's a corporate ideology to push this woke agenda, and they're pushing it down everybody's throats, and it's affecting every single property that Disney owns. And why should it shock anybody? Disney owns ABC, they own The View, they own that leftist woke narrative, and this is spewing over to everything else that they own. And folks, we're not hearing enough about that. And that's my take on the whole thing. So thank you for giving me a couple minutes to talk about that.
Oh wow, Disney owns The View. I guess that's why you can count on The View to have this most massively stupid takes.
Correct.
That was something that consistently, the Young Turks and The View and Hassan Piker and that crowd. You could always count on them to have the most stunned, stupid leftist takes.
Yep.
I've noticed that especially Anna Kasparian appears to be waking up.
Well, even
About
Senk
that.
is saying recently that Biden should like drop out. But with that said, he still trashes Trump, even though everybody knows that everything they're saying about Trump is a lie. At this point, we all kind of know it, and he still finds a way to trash him. But at the same time, even Zenk is coming out saying, "Yeah, but Biden needs to go." So who's left? Kamala Harris?
Yeah, hold on.
Governor Newsom? I mean, what?
Oh my God, yeah, I see your point. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic here, because this one's actually local. This one actually happened in Rearson's backyard here.
Also, it's the rear of Rearson. Okay, cool. I can deal with that.
Okay, this happened in Rearson's backyard. Tommy Robinson, mostly noted, a British activist. I've heard accusations that he's controlled opposition. I don't really know, don't really care, but he is a very strongly anti-immigration guy in Britain who was at one point tossed in jail under the Theresa May regime on really, really fraudulent trumped up charges, which she had to back away from. Now, they had Boris Johnson in for a while, and the guy who took over from Boris Johnson basically picked right up where Theresa May took off, although Boris Johnson also made a few questionable decisions as prime minister. The big issue here is that Tommy Robinson was supposed to come to Canada, specifically Calgary and Edmonton. He was going to do a Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and I think a couple of other stops. Then he was going to fly back to Britain and was going to participate in the British election that was taking place there. He comes in, he's grilled for 3 hours when he lands before he's allowed to leave. He goes, he does his first speech in Calgary, and then the moment he steps out of that event, the RCMP arrest him on an immigration violation, even though they literally had 3 hours and did a solid interview.
What warrant for?
You got an outstanding immigration warrant. We'll talk about it in the vehicle. Okay?
One outstanding warrant?
Yep, outstanding immigration warrant. We'll talk about it in the vehicle, okay?
How do you like, eh? You've got 190.
All right, come on.
What about myself? What about myself? My
We'll get your
passport.
stuff.
Absolutely insane. Get me a lawyer. Can you not tell me what I'm under arrest for?
You're under arrest for having an outstanding
I'm under
warrant.
arrest.
I'm happy to provide you with all of
An
your
outstanding
rights.
warrant.
Yeah, for an outstanding immigration warrant. So jump in there, please. Tommy.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.
Can I put these in front of me?
Yeah, you got your feet in there. Thank you.
So, oi,
Calgary's
fuck
fine.
Justin Trudeau.
Okay. Good.
Can you put these in front of me?
What's the charge? Free
Can't put those in
speech.
front of you
Why
right
not?
now.
What's he being arrested for?
Why can't I put it in front of me? How much can't I sit on?
Tommy, did they tell you what
Yeah,
you're
you gotta sit down
Yes,
there,
I've
okay?
got an outstanding warrant.
Okay, thank you.
I can't sit down on my hands, can I?
Calgary's
Excuse me.
finest.
Step back, please.
Calgary's finest. Thou shalt not speak against.
Where can I
Any
go to
authority.
help him get a lawyer and get bail?
He'll have access to a lawyer.
Which police? APU. Could be going downtown to APU.
Which precinct?
APU
Which
downtown.
precinct?
Where can I go to help out?
Which precinct?
Going to Dallas boss. That's how you can help out.
What's the spirit of fucking kidnapping?
Yeah.
Can I ask you who's made the order for my arrest?
Minister's delegate.
The minister's delegate. Who's the minister's delegate?
It's one of the officers that we
One of the what?
One of the officers that we work with.
One of the officers. Is that government?
So
Just so,
a director with the CBSA,
a director with who?
CBSA, Canada Border Services Agency,
A director with the CBSA
signed
has signed the order to have me arrested.
an arrest warrant.
An arrest warrant. Okay. I'm guessing now what, and you look to now what, arrest me, you've left all my stuff there, my passport, but you're going to deport me.
No, there's a whole procedure that we have to go through.
There's a whole procedure,
Right.
which takes how long?
Depends on the situation.
Roughly. How long do you envisage I'm going to be in Canadian custody?
It could be an hour. It could be, depending on how this whole plays out, could be, I don't know, I'm not even going to presume because
Could be what, roughly?
I'm not
What's
even-
worst case? What's worst case?
Worst case is until we can get you removed from the country, which with a valid passport, and if you want to go back, then I mean it can be a matter of days.
Where am I going to be held until that matter?
So that's the conversation that we have to have when we get to our office is, are you going to comply with any of the immigration conditions that we impose upon you? And do we believe that you're actually going to show up for this hearing when we say it's going to? And are you going to comply with any of the conditions that we agree upon? If we have...
Isn't it fucking mad? Isn't it mad how tough you get with immigration on the wrong people? It's mental, isn't it? You act like absolute spineless cowards as a country, letting every bloody goddamn fucking Abdul and whoever into your country. You don't know nothing about them, their criminal histories or anything, or their ideologies, and then you turn up mob-handed for me to give them a talk at a seminar.
Well, it's rather ironic that you're talking about criminal history. We don't know anything coming from the guy who lied on his application about his criminal history.
No, I didn't.
Or you did.
No, I didn't.
Who applied for your electronic visa?
My boss.
Your boss?
Yeah.
Well, your boss lied.
Where did it? What did it ask?
It asks you if you have ever been arrested, charged, or convicted of any crime anywhere in the world. It also asks you about your immigration history in other countries. The answers to all of those were no.
And it's normal. It's not. So it's normal, is it, for you to turn up the way you've just turned up? Is it? How many people do you get coming through your border every day that you don't even have a passport? They haven't even got passports. They just turn up, and then you give them a house. I'm not here asking for a house or benefits. Go on.
What do you want me to call you? Do you want me to call you Tommy, or do you want me to call you by your legal first name?
Whatever you want me.
No, I'm asking you, man, because it's a matter of respect, okay?
Okay.
So I'm willing to call you what you prefer to be called. So what do you want to be called?
Okay, Tommy.
Tommy. Okay, Tommy. Unfortunately, the position that we're in as officers, we can't make comments on what our government is and isn't doing. Okay?
Okay.
When I receive a legitimate arrest warrant for an individual within our country based on an inadmissibility, okay?
So, I have my passport back. I'm on my way to Toronto, which is a massive win, which wouldn't have happened without your support and without the lawyers. Okay, it just wouldn't have happened. I wasn't even allowed to go home. I'm now going to travel to Toronto, give my speech, exercise my free speech in the best way possible at an event. You can still get tickets to that. It's at tommytour.ca. It's on Sunday, and yeah, I've had my tickets, my passport returned. Ezra, what's your thoughts?
Tommy, this is amazing. I mean, David and Goliath doesn't even capture it. Not only are you free to go and give a speech in Toronto, but there's no deportation order, there's no ban. You are leaving as a welcome and honored guest. We're delighted to have you. And every single Canadian who saw that arrest the other day knows that has never happened before. Trudeau has never arrested, let alone sent 8 cops to arrest someone for immigration reasons. He's never banned them from traveling. It was 2-tier policing. And I want to thank our super lawyers for fighting for freedom. I haven't got their legal bill yet. If you want to help me, go to savetommy.com. But all credit to the lawyers. And I want to tell you, sometimes you think you can't win when you fight the government.
I didn't think we could win.
But you got to try. And today's a great victory day. Congrats, Tommy.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. And Michael, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm glad that you had a positive outcome. It was a great outcome.
I wasn't expecting that outcome either, if I'm honest. I wasn't expecting it. And I know that behind the scenes you were looking at every other avenue of what we could legally do, if not.
Yeah, no, we were looking at the other options, and frankly, this was the best option and the one we hoped for. And luckily, they were very reasonable about it. I got hats off to them. They did not have to do this, and I'm just glad they did.
So am I. And I don't think without your support, Navi, as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're glad at the positive outcome, and looking forward to that event on Sunday.
Without lawyers, honestly, I'd be stuck in Calgary. It's my daughter's birthday next week, which is what I was concerned about. I didn't want to say it publicly. It's my daughter's birthday. I weren't even allowed to go home. So I'm not just allowed to go do my tour. I've got my passport back, okay? Free to go. So I'll be going to Toronto. I'm excited. I'm shocked as well. And it is a David versus Goliath, and it shows, for me, it proves that what's happened this week shouldn't have happened. I should have been free to go to Edmonton, I should have been free to travel this country, I should have been free to give my discussions and my talks, and now I'm coming to Toronto, so make sure you're there, tommytour.ca. All right?
Let me make a final thank you to Justin Trudeau, because if he hadn't arrested Tommy, this whole thing wouldn't have blown up. 30 million people saw the video of that arrest, and he turned this into a free speech crisis. And we won. If he had just left you alone, Tommy, you would have done your tour and gone home and it wouldn't have been a big deal. Justin Trudeau once again shot himself in the foot. You helped increase freedom for Canadians. I just wanted to say that.
Do you know what I'll say as well? Do you know those officers couldn't have been nicer the entire time, from
true.
start to finish? Yeah.
It's true.
So even when I was arrested and got to the police station, they could not have been nicer. So they didn't want to do it. It was very clear they did not want to carry out that action. They were forced to. So yeah, I'm on the way to Toronto, man, and I'm buzzing. See you later.
And when the RCMP got asked questions, they just kind of all went mumble, immigration violation. Well, what kind of immigration violation here? Like, can you be specific? Can you name it? Mumble. Well, basically, it's like they have to, if it's an arrest record, they have to tell you what it is, and they won't. This is the same sort of thing that they pulled with Peter Menzies when they had that guy, when they had that staged arrest a couple of months ago with the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada. This is the same sort of thing. They just took him in. They took away his passport so he couldn't fly back to Britain. What a strange coincidence, given the fact that there was an election going on in Great Britain at the time. And he is basically confined to southern Alberta. Again, there's worse places that he could be living or being confined to, but he can't go south of Red Deer, and he confined basically to the borders of Alberta, east and west, the U.S. border in the south, and he can't go north of Red Deer. So, yeah, they took his visa, and of course they're being as quiet as humanly possible as to why it was that they arrested him for an immigration violation. They won't say what that immigration violation is, which automatically causes anybody who's even remotely politically aware, which causes everybody's spideys. Hold on a second, got a scratchy throat.
Spidey senses to be tingling.
It causes everybody's spider senses to be tingling massively because, again, Immigration Canada has not issued any type of a press release. There's been no comment out of the British, as far as I can tell, there's been no comment out of the British government. There was a few people over in Britain, specifically the mainstream media, who were openly gloating about the fact that he's arrested out of country and can't get back in. But overall, I'm just going to call a spade here. This is totally politically motivated. Period. End of story. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take to resolve this particular issue. I don't imagine it's going to take very long at all. But, this had to have been, to me, this had to have come down as a request from the British government, which, by the way, is why I have the British election as topic number 3, and that this was possibly tied in with the current election that is now concluded over there. So what I suspect might happen here is that when it comes to the time and again, they're being very tight-lipped about when they're going to hold this hearing to determine what actually happened. It wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden the charge turns out to be something really, really minor and insignificant, and it's like, oh, gee, we're sorry. Here's your passport back. You can go home. Oh, by the way, you're banned from coming back into Canada ever again. The British government asked, and this had to have been orchestrated by somebody very high up in Immigration Canada, maybe even at the Canadian cabinet level, for something like this to have been done, especially to have more or less interrogated him for 3 hours before letting him enter the country after the plane had landed. And that is where it stands. There will probably be more revealed when the first hearing comes out and they can no longer hide behind the cloak of anonymity and so on and so forth. Somebody clearly has it out for Tommy Robinson. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to, and we didn't have a specific order here, so we're going to go V, Angel, and then Steve. So V, you're up.
Unmute the.
There
I
he
always
is.
always let Angel go before me. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Angel. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I insist. Let V go. I mean, I insist. I got here late to the party. V,
That's why I
take
want
it.
you to go. Hop in. All right.
No,
Well,
I am insisting. You're the man here. Go for it.
well, it's always something political, and I have some kind of experience with this. There's some scumbags in Poland that are trying to make me responsible for something that never actually happened. So, you know, whether I can go back or not, I mean, I'm pretty sure I can, but they're going to try to make me uh, do something. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I kind of want to because for a simple fact, these people was, well, no, okay, so I'm being vague. So, okay. Well, there's this place called Shopka. It's like our 7-Eleven. And when it comes to the Polish, there's always some kind of scam with money, and it's just ridiculous. This manager, this owner of this Żabka, kept passing out broken bills, torn bills. You can't spend that anywhere. Polish people will not, any business, they will not take torn money. So, long story short, I went all liberal, right? I went into a liberal rage and started knocking stuff off the shelves. Now, I'm not stupid. I know if I broke something, I would have to pay for it. So I just knocked off like the soft stuff, soft packaged stuff, chips, bags of chips, stuff like that. So I didn't actually destroy anything. Next thing you know, the scumbags trying to sue me for destruction of property. She wants 800 zlotys for her losses, which, for one, is a total scam. And secondly, this woman was actually able to get all of my information. Okay, now, when you have someone's address, first, middle, last name, parcel number, which is the equivalent to social security number, I had a parcel number because I was a resident. And yeah, so I had someone try to call and try to see how they even got my information. The detective on the case said, don't have to answer to you. Click. They better not have me come back because I will sue them for however the hell they got my information. That was illegal, giving this woman my information. I'm very tempted to go back. But I know it's a political thing. The Polish government tried its best to get the colonel to stop me from doing my radio show. The colonel had to retire because he kept saying, no, I'm not going to do that for you. So I know it's like with this international political crap. And it is. It's very political. I agree. 100%. So, I mean, I hope the situation gets resolved, not in the interest of the political parties. With that, go ahead, Angel.
Well, has the political parties ever really solved anything anywhere around the world, V? I mean,
No,
let's
but
look
they're
at.
cruising for a bruising.
Yeah,
That's all I know.
but I mean, it doesn't shock me to hear that coming out of Poland, yay? Because the Poland's are very weird individuals. And I'm talking about the actual people themselves, not the government. The government's weird in itself, but in America, it's no different. I mean, when I was younger, I had incidents where I would go somewhere and just based on like, oh, you young punk, they assume I'm there to rob them, and I'm like, I got $7,000 in my bank account. I'm not here to rob anybody. I can pay for a soda and some fruits. You know what I mean? But it's all depending on the way they see people, the way they look at people. And it happens everywhere. This prejudgment of people in their appearance has always gone on, whether it's here in Poland. Somebody's doing a lot of heavy clicking, by the way. I think that's V. Got to mute
Probably.
again, V. Yeah, yeah. Got to mute yourself there, V. Unless you're speaking, but much better. I love when I'm talking. I hear click, 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 click. Reminds me that at least my heart's still ticking, or something's ticking away. But again, going back to what I was saying here, the overall way society is being built on, gentlemen. Remember, this is a society based on snitching and lies and manipulation, and a lot of people are falling into this. Doesn't matter what label party you belong to, whether you belong to the right, to the left, to whatever, your center. Unfortunately, this is something that's just going to keep happening more and more because we've built a society of snitches and liars, and they're getting their cue, and here in America anyway, from the liberal left, who caters on lying. I mean, I've been looking at some of the new stuff in the fallout in the last few days from even the Supreme Court decisions on immunity and just on a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at, and I'm like, my goodness, this is just political lies, and people are believing it. And then the wrap up smear, you say a lie long enough, people start believing it, they start repeating it, and next thing you know, the lie becomes truth, and that happens everywhere. I'm assuming in Poland it's no different, and the whole snitch culture is taking also people in places like that, they don't like a certain individual, even if you're not doing anything in particular, they're going to go after you. And the whole thing with the dollar bills, it's interesting to hear that out of Poland, V, because here in America it's a little bit different. Here in America, the dollar bill or 5 or 10 or whatever is torn. You can take it to a bank and they'll give you a fresh note. I mean, they'll give you another bill if you want. And
Oh yeah, no. That's But the thing is, I went back to the store. I got tired of it. I had tried to buy something with a torn bill.
Right.
And no, I'm not gonna take it. Well, you dished it out as change. You can take
Right.
it. Well, go to the bank. F you. I'm not spending time, money, gas, and be in discomfort to go and talk to somebody.
On a bill they gave you, no less. That's the worst part.
It's a level of harassment and targeting. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna scam this person.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't think it's targeting in general. Like, I don't think they're behind the scenes somewhere saying, "Okay, he's coming into the store now. He's about to like take money out of his pocket, and we have to get this ready for him now. This is our
beg to
target
differ.
individual." I don't think that happens. I think they,
No.
I think they take a look at
But you
people
don't understand
and
the
generalize so they can
mentality
talk.
of okay. So when you're a scammer, you look for a mark,
Right.
somebody that you can screw over, that you can get away with.
Right.
Especially somebody who's maybe not from where you are, maybe somebody who doesn't speak your language.
Well, you do stick out in
And
Poland like a sore thumb. I'm just gonna say.
that's what I'm saying.
Right. So you're an
This
easy
Thank you.
target.
this
Right,
CUNT is probably some racist. She was probably some kind of racist, and it just
Right,
nobody
but,
else
but
can play
that
that.
doesn't mean that they're like, secretly on the phone saying, okay, he's coming around the corner now. He's going to enter the store. It wasn't like that. They just saw you and automatically saw you as a victim because of your difference in race. And this happened to me about a year and a half ago, V, where I was at a gas station. I walked out. I had my wallet in my hand with a little chain around it. It was securely tied in my hand. About to put gas. I'm walking toward the window. They happen to be closed, but there was a lady inside who, flashes me with her hand saying, "We're closed, we're closed." And as I'm walking to my car to go back and find another gas station, some random dude just like ran up to me and punched me in the face, tried to take my wallet away. While this became a big deal is because I ended up like remember, I don't know if I mentioned this in the show before, but I took about a decade of Taekwondo as a kid, and I could still, I'm in my disability phase, and I'm, with illness. I know how to defend myself, and I can take a good shot to the face, not in a sexual way. Steve, calm down, but in a punching way. Like you take a
I
shot
just-
at
don't
Rierson,
worry.
calm down,
Don't-
calm down, Rierson.
Don't worry. I'm not feeling anything from you right now.
Okay, good man. Just hold on your pants. But if somebody punches me, I'm gonna be able to take it. And this person wasn't expecting that. Saw me as a sucker, walking with a limp, ran up to me, tried to take my wallet. As soon as he grabbed with one hand my wallet and figured, oh wait, I'm not gonna be able to get this off his hands. He swung, hit me in the face. My face, like it was a movie moment. It was like the funniest thing. My face turned as he hits me, and I didn't fall. I looked right at him and like, "Oh, you done fucked up. Now you're gonna get an ass whooping." I took 2 punches. He took 4, and when he threw it, and the last one knocked him down. He got up and tried to throw another one. He missed. He hit the side of the door of the car. I think he broke his knuckles because that's how hard he hit it. I at no point went down. He did. And at that point, it's either me chase him or let him run away. He ran away. And the funny part is, I look back at the window and the lady standing there with her hands on her head, like saying, "Oh my God, what the hell's going on?" And she like opens the door and I start screaming, "You want me to call the police?" And I'm like, "Why?" By the time they get here, this guy's long gone. And what am I do? Report a guy that I barely saw because it was dark, and not that he was dark or anything, but it was nighttime, so I barely even got to see his face, and it all happened within a minute. And she's like, "How did you not fall when he hit you?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I just got in my car and left." That was the end of that. But I saw that as I was not targeted because this guy was waiting there saying, "Okay, I'm waiting for this big guy who's bald is going to come in here and he's a targeted person." No, he just saw me walking with a limp, and targeted me because of that. That made me his target individual. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what happened to you in Poland, where they saw you. They saw you that you're different from. They assume that you're maybe a tourist, and they could take advantage of you, even though you have been living there for some time. And that made you a target to them at that moment in time. Where in other instances that if you're in America and you're in the right place, nobody would even look at you differently. You know what I mean?
I would say that you're accurate, but when they do it to you 4 and 5 times.
In Poland, I could believe that wasn't you. If it's me with my bald ass head, nobody's gonna look at me different. And I'm pale. But when it's you in Poland, I 100% believe it's just done because you're a black guy walking in Poland and with dreadlocks. I'm sorry. I'm a realistic person. I don't care about feelings. I'm gonna be real. I'm real. This is realism for the masses. This is what I do on my show. I'm gonna break it down real. You're a big black dude with dreadlocks, and you're in Poland with a bunch of crackers, walking around buying stuff. You're being an honest person. You're not like doing anything negative, right? You're just buying goods. But they look at you as a target. They look at you as a victim, and that's where they see it because that's what's embedded into the culture. Same thing's happening here with white people now, where white people are being targeted, and for whatever stupid reason, Asian Americans are being targeted. And just because they're Asian, they're getting punched. And this is being seen more and more in the news, and now they're like. And you notice when they first started happening, by the way, if you're clicking again, stop it. Where we see a lot of that, which was happening early on, the news didn't want to report it because they were like, well, the Asians are getting punched. And that's how we're saying. Why? If it was white people, they reported it immediately, right? But it turned out with the brothers punching the Asians, so the media didn't want to report it. And now that's cooled off because video came out that there was a bunch of black dudes punching Asians in New York. So that's already like it's gone down since it got pointed out. But in Poland, I could see the opposite happening, where a bunch of white people that run the establishments see, you stick out, unfortunately, and they see you, they target you, and they make you a victim. And that's normal behavior in Poland because that's the inbreeding backwards way of thinking of all the people there, especially the older crowd. And I'm pretty sure the people that did that to you might have been a little bit older. And the fact that they did that with their currency and then didn't take it back when you said, hey, okay, this is a currency you guys gave me. I'm going to buy something else with it. And they would refuse to take it back. That means they really thought you were a sucker and they didn't give a shit about their clientele. That in itself tells you a whole lot about those people, their racism, not the overall, climate, because a lot of people in Poland are not racist, but there are a lot of them, they are racist. It's like that argument with Trump. Oh, he said, neo-Nazis are good in Charlottesville. No, he said they're good and bad. They were there, and the neo-Nazis then showed up, and I condemned them separately, but the media only wants to put the here and the bad, right? The good and the bad. They only clip out what they want to clip out. And I think a lot of times we do that also as people. We clip out the bad parts of things that happened to us, and we incorporate it with our overall lives, and then if we've been targeted in other instances, we start putting together different times that we've been targeted for different reasons, and we do think that we're overall being targeted and everything's a target issue. With that said, I'm not doubting that he hasn't been targeted by governments, okay, or by the government. That is very possible, and it's a very plausible thing. I've talked to many individuals or targeted people who have had instances where they've been approached by government officials over their lives, and has been people maybe stalking them, or having cars in front of their homes, maybe showing up at events, and it's the same person showing up multiple times, like they're spying on them. That happens a lot. And I've talked to a lot of people like that. You probably are one of those individuals, but not everything in life belongs to that category. You know what I mean? Something just happened because of ignorance within the people itself. And I've experienced that. Sure, you've experienced that. And most people have experienced that at one point or another who are from our background. I'm Latino, you're a black dude. We have different little experiences. The white people, Caucasians, because in most parts of the world, guess what? Where they're the business owners, right? So when we walk into one of the establishments, these things happens. And with that,
targeting is targeting, no matter who's doing it, though.
Oh yeah, targeting is
my point.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so V, are you? Have you got anything more to add on this? Because
no.
All right, Angel, are you? Have you had your say? Because we need to turn it over to Steve because Rearson, because this happened in his backyard.
Well, let him take it in the rear. Go for it. Go for it, Rishan. Tell us about your backyard. I want to know more. I'm intrigued to poke around in your backyard.
Right in his backyard.
With the stick.
I'm going to have to say no. Oh, and before I go any further, folks, here at the Red Pill Nation Hangout, we have pretty much no fucking standards. So, had to be said.
At least you didn't say freaking, like another friend of ours who joins the show here once in a while. You say the actual fucking word. I appreciate that, Steve.
I already said fuck. Anyway, that's fine. Neither here nor there. I was honestly surprised, but then that shock only lasted for about 2 seconds. I thought, oh yeah, it's Trudeau. Because ultimately, there's that kind of a request would have to come through official channels, and the Prime Minister at the end of the day would have to give the okay for that or not. I'm going to segue into the third topic, which is about.
Okay, I'm going to have to do a timestamp if you're going to do that, so let me know.
Yep. Okay. So again, with the trucker convoy, where it was pretty much peaceful. Things were disruptive with the Coots, and I can't remember the American point of entry between Alberta and Montana, where things were not blocked, but were severely disrupted, but there was still a flow of goods going both ways, and the government intervening, and of course with Trudeau going after people that, donated, where they had their bank accounts frozen and the like. I mean, this really should not be a surprise to anyone. I mean, if you still are, okay, fine. I'll admit, I'm a bit jealous. I really am. I mean, there was a price to pay for being intelligent or having awareness or whatever you want to call it, or being awake for that matter. Sometimes I wish I wasn't. So with Robinson having been interrogated and then let go and then immediately arrested afterwards. And again, Rocky mentioned David Menzies, part of Rebel News, where he's been arrested 2 or 3 times. And magically, for some strange reason or another, the charges always seem to be dropped or never come to a point of showing any reason for things having been done to him as they were. So it just doesn't make any sense at all until as Naroki put it, and you might as well just timestamp it at this point, you look at the UK election that was coming up. Now, I'll admit that I was honestly fully and thoroughly ignorant as to what was going on. Angel, I assure you, if I was even leaning towards that side of the to play with the same plate, I could do a hell of a lot better than you.
Hey, all I'm saying is you're reminding me right now of a Diddy party with a little breathing. Oh, keep going.
Actually, there was a gentleman that Naroki and I both knew when I was working at the Rimrock. I'll just call him as Senor.
Rim and Rock. Yeah, continue.
Rimrock.
Oh God! And I thought that my mind resided enough in the gutter. Boy, gentlemen, you put me to shame. Absolute fucking shame. Anyway.
Goal achieved. Continue.
Anyway. I can't see that anybody in what was at the time the current UK government. Actually, no, I can. I can see how people in with it might have been more bureaucrats. I don't know. But I don't even remember the guy's name. That was the prime minister. But he was about as useful as tits on a bull. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's constant talk of the Uniparty in the States. There's talk of the Uniparty in Canada. And for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing in Britain. They're probably given one pet project that they can run with that doesn't interfere with the grand scheme of everything, or at least the impact will be minimal. So I would not be the least bit surprised of there being foreign interference with a foreign national within the country that would have, I'm guessing that Robinson would have been campaigning for UKIP, if that's still around or not. Nigel Farage's political party. And I won't say any more at this point, but I'm going to take a look and see how they did. And I'll pass this on to Naroki.
Okay, yeah. It was, to quote it was like the way Boris Johnson got in, the way they went out was, I mean, first of all, Boris Johnson won the previous election, not the current head of the Conservative Party. Now, what ended up happening, because Boris Johnson was the prime minister when this whole thing with the Ukraine started out, and then he was forced to step down. I think it was July of 2022, and then somebody else took over. And the moment that this new guy, and I can't even remember his name at this point, took over, the Conservatives went back to doing the same things that they had been doing under Theresa May, which is they started with the political repression again. They started doing the stuff like, say, harassing UKIP and harassing all the other parties, the opposition. They started trying to blow the borders open again, etc. They started quietly reopening the borders, started doing the corrupt business practices again. All of the stuff that they've been doing under Theresa May, except that they're no longer part of the EU. The net result was, I mean, not surprising at all. By the way, the prime minister is not I will say he's not a native-born Briton, because he probably was born and raised there. Just like, for instance, with Jake, some of the MPs that are currently sitting in the House of Commons in Canada are Sikh, and they were born and raised here. I'm going to have to assume that the new prime minister was born and raised in Britain. He's obviously, though, not of European ancestry, which is absolutely no surprise when it comes to the Labour Party. Now, what ended up happening is, I was expecting that the Conservatives were going to lose a few seats when the British election came up. The only election that I can compare this to, and Rearson knows the one that I'm talking about, was the one after Brian Mulroney was more or less forced. As unpopular as Trudeau is now, Brian Mulroney I think he was down to like 3% approval at one point. Brian Mulroney was even less popular when he left than Trudeau is right now. And he sat there, and Kim Campbell became the prime minister for a bit. And when the election came up in 93, what literally happened is that the Conservatives won, obviously. The Liberals won, obviously. And that was when Jean Chrétien took over. But the Liberals got reduced from a strong majority.
No. Conservatives.
Yeah, the Conservatives got reduced from a strong majority down to 2 seats in the House of Commons. What happened with the Conservatives this time around is that the Conservatives went from 365 seats in the House to 48 seats. The Scottish Separatist Party, the Scottish National Party, is actually the official opposition. The Labour Party.
That's like the Bloc Québécois being the official opposition party in Canada. Wow.
That's why I was comparing it to the 93 election. The Labour Party went from 203 seats to 507. They just destroyed the Conservative majority government. Here's the thing, though. It's the Labour Party, which is the functioning equivalent of the Liberal Party in Canada, or the Democrats in the United States, or, they're the left-leaning party. They are not. They are leftist. They are absolutely going to blow open the borders. They are absolutely going to do everything humanly possible to probably to pull WEF policies in to Great Britain. Not that the Conservatives weren't doing it, but it's very, very clear that and the Liberal Democrats are even worse in that regard in terms of being globalists. So it's like the Brits are kind of screwed one way or the other. At least in at least in Canada, at least Pierre Poilievre does not at least appear to be a WEF stooge. He hasn't been acting like one, although again, right, I am not completely sold on Pierre Poilievre at all. But I mean, yeah, the British election was just an absolute like smackdown, like in a way that I've only ever seen one other time in an election anywhere. And again, right, this is the trend, though. It's happening all across Europe where the government currently in charge. And when we get to the French election, you'll see this again, where the party currently in charge is facing a really nasty rebuke. Now, is it possible that the Labour Party in Britain has come around to their senses and realized that they have to be more along the lines of, say, classically liberal instead of far left? I seriously doubt that, but it's a possibility. I'm not going to hold my breath, and we will probably find out within the first month or two what the Labour Party is all about. I suspect we're going to just see another version of leftist parties everywhere. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Angel.
Why me? What did I do?
Well, it's okay. All right, V. All right, V. Go ahead.
I got no opinion. Go ahead, Angel.
I doubled down on that. Remember, we're not Canadian.
This is the British election, not the Canadian election.
I have nothing to add to this. Rear. Take it to some.
All right. I will say that the Prime Minister-elect has effectively doubled down with, probably with more, not necessarily more immigration, but is strengthening, reinforcing, however you want to put it, to back up Ukraine as much as possible. So the guy, in my opinion, is just a globalist. He's a globalist puppet, and that's being polite. So, I mean, I thought things in Canada were bad enough, but given the options of what they had available for them to pick from effectively. Oh, and I did post up Nigel Farage's character of the Reform Party, the UK Reform Party, whatever the hell it is, ended up getting 14% of the vote and only 5 seats. But still, just like what happened with Preston Manning's Reform Party of Canada, I think they got 1 or 2 seats before with the previous election, and then it was just enough of the old guard. We'll try something new. They ended up merging with the Conservative Party of Canada for the the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada to now the CPC, the Conservative Party of Canada. Anyway, I don't think that this is going to last very long. I see what's going to happen with the UK, that it's going to continue its downward trajectory, and in all likelihood, it's going to be accelerated. Like, I can almost see it being a race to the bottom. Who can do the most damage right now? I mean, take your pick between Canada and the U.S. as to who's done a better job at destroying their country, Trudeau or Biden or Biden or whatever. But I think what's going to happen now with the Brits is that I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a whole new level of stupid. So we'll see. That's all I can say is we will see. So, and on that note, Naroki, we're all done with this one. Let's move on to the next.
Okay, I have to. The hell? Can anybody hear me? Say if you can hear me.
Yeah, you're fine. I can hear you.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I don't know what, because the screen just went white. Like the screen just went white. I actually found oh, for what the hell? Okay, all right, no, I made a mistake on it. It wasn't as the Conservatives didn't get absolutely body slammed. They did lose 251 seats. The Labor gained 200 to 211. So it wasn't the absolute drag them out smackdown, but it was still overwhelmingly in favor of the Labor Party. Yeah. What can I possibly say about this? It's like, I mean, it's gonna have, like, I mean, the people I want, and I mean, yeah, Kelso is always like really a stick in the mud in terms of what about politics and politicians and votes and so on and so forth. And he's usually not particularly not usually particularly vital about this, but I mean, yeah, I'm going to have Britain is probably in way more trouble than
Naroki, we can't hear you.
Stop fucking around with your stick, man.
I think Naroki is trying to make that Freddy Krueger meme I posted there come to reality.
Yeah, that one's just nasty.
Well, I mean, it's Freddy Krueger's penis picture. Just imagine.
No, it could be worse. It could be a face of Trudeau for being a dick pic.
That's true too. It could go for either or. Actually, Trudeau would make a very interesting Freddy Krueger in the movie. What do you think, V? Not much makeup.
Nobody can hear you, Naroki.
Yeah, I think his USB might have been messed up or something because he was kind of like going in and out a little bit there. Yeah, you might be talking, but if we can't hear you, you're gonna have to go and fix this later and post, my Naroki friend. Oh, there you go. See, what you need to do is unplug the headset and plug it back in. That usually works.
That's what I did. Okay.
That's
so,
I know my shit.
What ended up happening is that so I don't know where we ended up and
before you continue, that's probably your USB. I know you're gonna cut this out later anyway. I hope.
Yeah.
But your USB is probably either malfunction or a little bit loose, or maybe you pulled it from there. Make sure it's always really secure so you don't have that issue again. That's a USB issue you just had there.
Okay, yeah. So what ended up happening is, the Labor didn't get over 500. They got 400 they got 411. The Conservatives didn't get as smacked down as badly. And no, the Scottish National Party isn't the isn't the official opposition. It is the Conservative, but it's still an absolute, like, yeah. The Labor Party just absolutely came in and bitch slapped the Conservatives all over the place. Yeah, that's all I got to say about this particular situation. Anyway, I think we're done on this issue, so let's move on to the next one here. Come on now, let's not please. There we go. Now it's not going white on me again. Okay, so let's get into the next election. This one involves the French election, which of course Macron was forced to call after the EU elections, which if you want to listen to the mainstream media, suddenly the far right is taking over in Europe. Literally a couple of the shows I saw covering the French election, like one of them would literally there was left, center, and far right for Le Pen. Just absolute insanity, because I mean, when you start looking at it a lot more closely, you can clearly see that Marine Le Pen would not have gotten 33% of the vote if she was far right. I mean, the whole situation that happened in France is that, I mean, the French government has been effectively for the last 3 or 4 decades been governed by what you call the Paris ally, the Paris elite. And, you know, they've had, like, the people that have been elected have been very have been like 1%ers now for a few years, and it's been getting worse, not better. And what finally, well, I mean, the last election, Marine Le Pen came second after Macron. And what happened is that all of the, and it was close on the first vote, although, I mean, Marine Le Pen got probably about 10% more of the vote this time around than she did on the last one, is that a lot of the left also like the majority of the left abandoned Macron, because Macron finished third, so he's not actually even in the running this time around for the second election. It's going to be the dude. I can't remember what the person's name is, but it's going to be the dude from the left, like the Left Alliance or something like that, is the one that is going to be running up against Macron, against Le Pen in the general election. Now, you got to keep in mind here that there's still probably about 45% of the vote that didn't fall into the first two, which means, for lack of a better term, that she still needs about a third of that remaining group in order to secure a majority in the House. So she's not there yet. Now, given the fact that the majority of the people who didn't vote for her are either on the left or on the center, she has her work cut out for her. So this is not a lock. There have, in the cities, though, in particular in Paris, there were actual Antifa-style Antifa-style protesters attacking Le Pen supporters in various cities, including one case where one of the MPs got physically attacked by Macron supporters in one of the cities in France. So this is not over by a long shot. I mean, this is very encouraging. I'm very happy for Marine Le Pen that she got this, but you know, it's you know, it ain't over. She still has to get over a third of the remaining vote of the undecideds in the next round of the election, which is the one that actually determines who the president is going to be, for her to become the president, which might be rather difficult, because in the last election, she only got a 5% bump. And again, it was around 40 to 45% of the undecideds when Le Pen went up against Macron the first time around. So this is not a lock by any stretch of the imagination. Le Pen could still get absolutely body slammed in the second part of this election, but it is very, very clear that, like a lot of places, which is what happened with the Labour Party and their protest against what the Conservatives were doing over in Britain, this is the reverse, except in France, it is the right dethroning the left, and as opposed to Britain, where you have Labour or the left dethroning the right. Regardless of what happens, and this is going to happen probably going to happen in the United States as well, whoever takes over, it cannot be politics as usual. And that is going to apply with France. It's going to apply with Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, wherever you go. It cannot be politics as usual anymore. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Angel.
You confused me with the order because you said V, then Angel, then Steve, and now it's me
Well,
first.
Force of
V
habit.
wants to go second to last. So what can I say?
Yeah, but I don't have much to say on these over policies in other countries. So V.
Well, you're gonna skip your turn. No.
I'm being gracious. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, let's not defy tradition here. I always go second last. Tradition. But I don't have much to say on either. I do want to just talk about my distaste for these people who are attacking other politician supporters. This politician supporters is attacking that group's this politician supporters. This divide and conquer stuff. They get off on this stuff.
Welcome to the world of Earth. It's
It's
been like
sick.
that from it's been like that from the beginning of time, V.
People need to. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. If they want change, if they want to affect whatever policy, whatever, then they need to go after the politician. We need to stop infighting. Okay, let's get rid of the corrupt scum. Right? Let's let's get rid of the. If we don't, somehow I see down the line Hunter Biden being a president. Because we as people will not put our foot down. We get rid of these scumbags. I'm so tired of the corruption. It's too much. It really is. It's just too much.
But V, one thing you got to remember also, if you think the jails are overpacked now, just imagine when you put all these corrupt people in jail. You have to build like 40,000 new jails just to house every corrupt person.
Who said anything about jail?
Well, that drive-by justice.
And with that, I'll dip.
So we're talking about drive-by justice, like the liberals are not calling Trump to get assassinated. Is that what we're talking about here? Because I don't want anybody killed.
Insert here. Insert here. That's all I'm saying. Whatever you want. Insert here.
I think overpacking jails is dumb. No matter who you put in there, corruption is going to happen as long as somebody is richer than the other. In Star Wars, they said in Phantom Menace, there's always a bigger fish, and every time you end whether it be a political party or whether you end something like a country or a constitution and you want to start over, guess what? You're putting other people in position of power. Power corrupts absolutely, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So no matter what system you go into, even if you're gonna go into it at first with honorable, instincts and honorable ideas, it always is gonna get corrupted. That's human nature. You could even follow that in the flipping, freaking, fracking Walking Dead. Okay, every time they got to a new place and they want to make a beautiful utopia, it always got corrupted. That is the way humans are. Unfortunately, you can't house and jail everybody. You also can, drive by and shoot everybody because that's just going to help the population control. And, well, then they get their way anyway. So, yeah, you want to take that one off?
Yeah, but it would happen less if they were punished.
Well,
it would happen less. I want less of it. I'm not saying it's going to go away.
Of course.
But if the president knows that we, as a public, are itching to use our Second Amendment, might just be a little bit more careful with this crime and keep it at a level to where he's lining his pockets, whatever, but not overtly screwing people over with stupid policies. We need to put fear into our politicians. Our government needs to fear us.
What
Once
I
again,
do, what I think is what we have to have is politicians that are willing to go ahead and get in front of cameras and say, "Hey, you see these bills they're trying to pass here into law? This is what this actually means. Is the normal person not going to be able to see this? We here in America we have the Freedom of Information Act where we can look up records, but your everyday folk might not be able to see this. They'll see it on the news or TV or whatever." And streaming on YouTube or whatever. But we just need to get more and more of the politicians that are passing these bills before they get passed. Say, look, this is what they're trying to do to you. This is why I love Trump because he literally comes out and says that Matt Gates is another one and Audrey Taylor Greene. They come out and tell you, hey, the bills are trying to pass. Look what's in them, and they actually explain what's going on. So we, the people, when we look at it, we're not stupid and just say, well, where's our money going? No, now we know. So dum dums, don't keep voting for the same people that are doing this crap. So this goes back to the people taking the bull by the rein and saying, you know what? When it's voting time, we have to vote for the right people because you vote for feelings or because, oh, she says the right things and she's a black woman and she's a lesbian and oh my God, we got to vote for the black lesbian woman who is talking to the world and we have to have feelings. No, I don't give a shit about feelings. I want the right people who are honest and are going to tell us the truth. Unfortunately, even those sometimes get corrupt. And that's true because it happens at every part of life, whether it's politics, whether it's media, whatever. That's accurate.
well, we need a complete system of reform.
Yeah, but then it's going to happen again. I say we fix
I
what we have now by having everybody
Yeah,
awaken,
it's called
not become
it's
woke, become awakened to what's happening. And the
it's
only way to do
called
that
a
is to pass it.
revolution for a reason, my friend. Yes, it's
Yes,
something
but
that you have to do
yeah, but
periodically.
I come from a country where we had a revolution that didn't turn out too well. Sometimes the grass
We
isn't
gotta do it
greener on
again.
the side of the field. If in Venezuela they tried a revolution, you know what they wish? They never had a revolution. That's what they want. So you can't always say, "Oh, revolution, revolution." To
That
what?
just
More
means you
scared?
didn't do it right, my friend.
Revolutions don't work.
That just
I
means you
love
didn't do it
America.
right.
You know what? Hold on. You know why immigrants want to come to America? Because it's a great country and the Constitution is right. Now, the people we put in power, those are the nincompoops we got to get out of there. It's not the country, and we don't need a revolution. We need smarter people being elected that are honest. And the only way to get that is by having smarter voters knowing what the hell they're voting about. This is how you fix the system and tell
You think
people
voting
facts.
works?
Realism works.
You think voting works? Okay.
Hey,
I would
they,
live in the world
we're
that
gonna
you
find
live
out
in,
in
my friend.
November because we all know they're trying to rig it for Biden, right? So if Trump wins, then we can say, well, it works when we're paying attention. You know
Yeah.
why Trump lost in 2020? Because most of the country wasn't paying attention because they were rioting, destroying the country. The left was doing things where it caused people to not pay attention. So when you had the actual voting date, people weren't looking at the ballots, coming out from the bottom of tables after hours. People weren't paying attention to the people who were protesting in front of buildings, saying why we are not allowed to go in and do our duty, which is count votes. That happened, and nobody paid attention. The media did that. The multi-mass corrupt media. But it happened because we were easily duped because most individuals weren't prepared. I guarantee you that won't happen again in November.
Okay, yeah, let's get back to the
You gotta
actual
have
French
reforms. You gotta have
elections.
reforms.
Yeah, but the
Yep.
French are assholes, and that's neither here nor there. That's a quote from Dumb and Dumber. If you didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, V? Because I kind of need to turn. Can I turn it over to Rearson here?
Yeah, I mean, it's people complain. Yes, we the people we have more numbers. Yes, we are responsible for the government. Yes, it's up to us. It's our responsibility to do something about it because times are getting tough. There's more people, and there's more and more unhappy people. We got to do something about these people. It is our responsibility. I can't blame corruption. I'm not one of those black guys like the white man, the white man. No, I brought myself up, and I'm doing stuff about stuff. So voting, all that. No, you got to educate the people and have the people be able to abstain from their enslavement, the things that enslaved them. That's why you guys have Trudeau and all such stuff, because they're kowtowing to your elitist garbage over there, and that's around
right.
the world.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm done.
Okay, Rearson.
Well, what's going to be interesting isn't so much Le Pen winning, although they'll keep voting until it's whoever crosses the 50% mark, I suppose. But it's the next French prime minister who could actually be part of Le Pen's party. And he's 28, I believe. I just looked him up. And there's a difference between the president and the prime minister, where the president is the head of the state, but the prime minister is the one that's running the legislature. And it's running, it's not the executive branch, but it's the legislative branch. So how this is going to look, what this is going to turn into, I don't know. And if the president has, let's say it isn't Le Pen, but let's say it's not Macron, it's option number 3, shall we say, or option C. What's going to happen if... Okay, can you mute yourself, please? Like, that's really starting to get irritating.
That's not...
Yep, I know. Just please. Anyway, I'll have to look into this to grasp how much of a nightmare this could be if basically you have Le Pen's party win, but she's not president, and like I said, let's say by some miracle it's Macron again. I don't know how this is going to affect the country. So now Le Pen came in with 29% of the vote, and enough of the other parties are dropping their candidates in an effort to stem the tide, the flow of the tide. To
33% is what she got. Continue.
Okay, all right. Thank you for correcting me. 33%, 1 out of 3. I mean, that is big. Now, maybe by hedging their bets and only having options A, B, or C, I don't know how much of the French population that's been sitting on the fence would just kind of go, gee, I don't know which one is the best one to pick, you know. So it's more of a Quebec accent, but anyway. I'm wondering if that might kick the silent majority into perhaps voting for Le Pen's party, whether again it's president or it's prime minister or whether it's president or within the legislative assembly. I have no idea. So I don't have anything to say more on this except we're going to have to wait and see. And then even then after that, like what's happened with Britain, we're going to have to give it a couple of days or a couple of weeks until the dust settles and we start to see what direction the country's going in. So that's really all that I have to say on the matter. So, Naroki, back to you.
So yeah, what really gets me is that they keep trying to label Marine Le Pen as far right. You don't get 33% of the vote by being far right. I mean, you know, I'm going to bring up Goddard's law here and because, like, yeah, it's like this whole big far right scare that they've been trying to push about the European elections in the world press and everything else. It's like, you know, the classic example was, of course, Germany in the 30s. Now, I'm going to point something out here. The Nazi Party inside Germany actively harassed and actively harassed and prevented the opposition parties, for the most part, from organizing or establishing an active opposition to what they were doing. The one person, because I mean, I've actually been listening to on and off the History of World War II podcast. The guy's not a particular, by the way, the guy who does that particular podcast is not a very engaging speaker when he talks, but what ended up happening, and this is something that we have to keep in mind here, because it definitely applies to Great Britain for sure, is that there's going to have to be a person or persons that will just simply have to step forward, and they will have to rally around that individual for better or worse, and have that person organize in a way to stop the globalists. Now, France has that individual in Marine Le Pen, which is why she's doing so well. The United States has that particular individual in Donald Trump. Now, is Pierre Poilievre that particular individual in Canada? Well, I am not completely sold yet. It is very clear that Great Britain doesn't have any. Well, there's Nigel Farage, right? But, like there's not a political figure in Britain that's willing to step up, but they do have that particular type of, and they do have that particular visual, Viktor Orban in Hungary, whoever it is that's leading AfD in Germany, the National Party in Sweden. So there are European, and of course Meloni in Italy, right? So you do have that appearing to a great extent in Europe. Now, is Poilievre that guy in Canada? Maybe. The United States has got, again, for better or worse, because I gotta keep saying this, I'm not fully on Team Trump here. But I mean, for whatever reason, Trump has become that individual in the United States. I don't know who that would probably be over. I'm betting that there's probably going to be an individual in Japan who's probably going to eventually, we're going to start hearing about, as well as also some people in New Zealand and Australia as well. Haven't gotten there yet, and we may get to them. But for right now, yeah, you don't, if you're far right, you don't get 33% of the vote in the first round of the elections. And yes, the other parties are losing their shit, for lack of a better term, and are doing everything they can to try to throw support to the second place party. The only problem is that, Macron just went right on ahead and kept doing the same sort of stuff that was an issue back in 2019. In 2022. And, it's not, it doesn't work, right? It's not gonna work. It's gotten worse, not better. Macron's government has refused to do anything about it because they're a bunch of globalist stooges. I do remember that speech that they did on Remembrance Day where Macron actually stood there and actually had the gall to say that nationalism isn't patriotism, which just blows my mind that he would even attempt to say something like that. And of course, we also have the Yellow Vest protests. I think most of us remember those because we were covering those for quite a while because those went on. So, I mean, yeah, Macron has made things very much worse. And with that, let's get on to the last topic of the night, which is Tractor Supply caved in. Well, I won't say they caved in. They went bad. They decided to drop.
All right, y'all, you're going to want to see this. I don't think anybody's gone into this the way I'm about to. It is time to expose Tractor Supply. What you see behind me, this is what workers see walking into the distribution center in Franklin, Kentucky. But It doesn't stop here. You might be thinking, oh, maybe this is just some woke person at that center who decided to do this. No, this is just tip of the iceberg. You ready for this? Fair warning, you're going to want to strap in because this is going to be a long video because we're going to expose it all the craziness that they have done that their customers have no clue about. This company is absolutely stupid for doing this. The vast majority, and I mean vast majority of their customer base is conservative, including myself. I have spent tens of thousands at Tractor Supply. First, here's some more of what awaits you at that distribution center if you work there. You might even be thinking, you know what, Robbie? Maybe this isn't a Tractor Supply center. Maybe this is somebody tricking you who sent you these photos to try to get you to put out a story that's not true. Well, no such luck. There's the lockers over there for Tractor Supply Corporate, and they've got some cute Juneteenth celebration stuff too up, along with the trans flags. And here's what Tractor Supply has on their team member TV. I want to state I take no pleasure in doing this. I am a Tennessean. I do not want to hurt a Tennessee company, but conservatives deserve to know that this is where their money's going, and it gets worse. There is more. By the way, this is their CEO. More on him later, but I think you get the picture here. Let's jump to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, they have a whole section about DEI on their website, and you've got to love that they put the stock ticker on it. I mean, that's kind of funny, in a dark way. You know, I questioned if the CEO was truly involved with the wokeness of this company, but I think this DEI statement from him kind of says everything. So you can pause this video real quick and take a gander at that. Oh, and look, they have a DEI Inclusion Council. In fact, they're so committed to DEI that they release yearly reports on how many more minorities they're hiring that year. Tractor Supply is doing such a good job of being woke that the Human Rights Campaign has given them an A grade. What did they do to earn that A grade? Let me show you. Their inclusive benefits, where they score a perfect 50 out of 50, include providing equal health coverage for transgender individuals without exclusion from medically necessary care. So you might be thinking, maybe that doesn't include transitions. Well, according to the definition at the Human Rights Campaign website, yes, in fact, equal health coverage for transgender people means that they are paying for transitions. So yes, when you go buy stuff at Tractor Supply, apparently that's what you're paying for. They also received a perfect score in internal training and inclusive culture for providing 4 LGBTQ internal training elements, including intersectionality training, providing at least one LGBTQ plus inclusive data collection effort, and providing gender transition guidelines. The closest Tractor Supply has come to being held accountable for their woke behavior is when they were caught last year sponsoring a drag show in Waco where kids were exposed to this family-friendly drag show. You might be thinking maybe they learned their lesson after that. Maybe they stopped using the money from their conservative customers to fund this stuff that their customers are diametrically opposed to. But no. I looked, and they actually just sponsored Franklin Pride here where I live in Franklin, Tennessee. You wouldn't notice right away if you looked at this list of vendors because it just says TSC. It doesn't have the Tractor Supply logo anymore like it used to. But I was able to confirm it was them. On the map that attendees received, you can see the Tractor Supply logo very clearly at that table because that was their vendor booth right next to the trans flag. And yes, there were kids all over this event. Even the Washington Post admitted that Tractor Supply was selling the Queer Agenda card game, which has now been removed from their website. Their CEO, Hal Lawton, is so committed to DEI, inclusivity, and yes, climate change, that he even wrote an op-ed about it in the Tennessean. Here's some of what's in it. He brags in it about how they've increased their ethnic diversity on their board and management executive committee, and that they've conducted unconscious bias training for over 40,000 team members. And to those 40,000, I am so sorry you had to be put through that, because I know you all would have rather been bit by 40,000 fire ants than sit through that training. This might be one of my favorite parts. In his woke op-ed, he ends with saying that they rallied around the theme of Stronger Together at Tractor Supply. Why do I know that saying, Stronger Together? Oh yeah, it was this lady's slogan. And her book. This wouldn't be a surprise for anybody who's seen his likes on X. This is one of the posts he liked, which was a donation call from Joe Biden before the 2020 election. And this is him back when he was an executive at Macy's, launching the Kenneth Cole Pride Collection. He's also very proud of offering 50 whole bucks to his employees to get vaccinated at work for COVID-19. And just so you know how he feels about unvaccinated people, let's go back to his likes on X. Do you remember when Allison Williams was forced to leave ESPN because she chose not to get the vaccine while she was pregnant? Well, let's take a look at some of Hal Lawton's likes that day. If you get COVID while you're pregnant and you are unvaccinated, it could do serious harm to you and your baby. Being pregnant puts you at much more serious risk. It's not worth it. My wife got pregnant, no problem, a couple months after getting the vaccine. I cannot understand how putting your family at risk is a good decision. Why did you feel the need to post this? Oh, I don't know, maybe because her civil liberties were being violated? Any real doctor would tell you to get vaccinated if yours didn't get a new one. Family first would mean she'd get the vaccine. Her husband, relatives, co-workers, they don't count as family. And last but not least, this is incredibly unfortunate. With this statement, you're promoting doubt in the vaccine. Hal also seems to like BLM. According to Google, Hal Lawton makes $11 million and owns almost $30 million in Tractor Supply stock. A real champion of the working class. So I don't know about y'all, but I've had enough. I've had enough of all this garbage. I do not want to fund this wokeness. I understand how hard it is to not buy things at Tractor Supply. I get it. I've got cattle, I've got chickens, I've got a bunch of dogs and bunnies and animals. I know how much stuff we need to get from Tractor Supply. But there are some things we can buy at other places. I encourage you to search online and let's start buying what we can at other places to show Tractor Supply who their customers are. And if you need to remind them who we are, I'm going to put some of their contact information in the caption. Reach out to them and let them know that we don't want to pay for this stuff anymore, period. We don't want our money going to woke causes. If he wants to spend his money on woke causes, he can spend some of that $11 million salary or his $30 million in stock on it, but he shouldn't be spending our money on it. It is child abuse what's being pushed on kids at these pride shows and drag shows. They're filled with nudity, sex toys, you name it, they've got it. Kids do not belong there. Remember, these are events that are literally about the type of sex people like to have. I'd say the same thing to straight people. Kids don't belong there. It's child abuse. Stop displaying sexual stuff to kids. And the fact that companies like this then turn around and celebrate it and shove it in the face of their employees who are morally opposed to this in the most righteous way possible is disgusting. These companies need to make changes. We've already seen from our backlash in the last year, we have changed the paradigm of the way many companies are working, but unfortunately, not at Tractor Supply, where apparently they're conservative employees and being inclusive to them doesn't matter. This is all that matters to them, is worshiping this ideology, and that's very clear from taking one look at the CEO. By the way, Hal, some of your employees are not real fond of the fact that you're having this event at your corporate office to highlight LGBTQ plus people and their allies. They think that that's not appropriate for the workplace. I kind of don't blame them. I think it's a little weird too. Can't we all just get back to a place where people keep their sex lives to themselves? That's it. I don't want to hear about anybody's sex life. Why do we make this a part of the workplace? It should not be a part of the workplace at all. Your workplace is not your sex place, okay? Nobody cares about your sex life at work. We don't want to know. So now everybody, remind Tractor Supply who their customers actually are. In the caption, there's going to be some ways to contact Tractor Supply. I encourage everybody to do it in a very respectful way, but to demand change and let them know that you are going to be leaving as a customer. They're going to understand very quickly who their customers are and going to make the changes necessary, and they're going to need to make a lot of changes. I do consider this the biggest boycott one we've ever had.
Yeah, there's no doubt, especially based on the results, which have been delivered over the past 12 hours in such a comprehensive victory for common sense and also for the customers who shop at Tractor Supply, and it's been an incredible journey. Why don't we start at the beginning with your initial viral tweet here? So here's what got it all kicked off. Robbie Starbuck saying, "Hey man, I live in Tennessee. I love Tennessee, but this company's gone woke." And this thing went thermonuclear viral. What was the initial reaction to this, Robbie?
Well, I think it was what we expected. People were shocked, because to be honest with you, this all started with a whistleblower. They came to me, they worked at Tractor, and they said, hey, this company has gone so far off course from the values of the customers and its workers in the stores, because in the stores, the vast majority of the workers are conservative. I've had so many of them reach out to me thanking me for this whole thing. But in corporate, it's a different story. So when we found that out from the whistleblower, I said, okay, we're throwing all of our team at this. Everybody's researching this from every angle, every executive, figure out where this went wrong, how it went wrong, and what's happening. And so we identified it, we put together a plan, and we said, okay, we're not going to do this thing that has been done with boycotts where people are unfocused, they're all over the place, they last one news cycle, and that's it. We are going to stay on this story until we get change, and that's what we did. We stayed on it for over 3 weeks, and I think at every turn where people were hoping, oh, maybe they've run out of material, we did not run out of material because we did all the heavy lifting beforehand. Nobody could delete anything or whatever. We had it all. And so I think that made a big difference here, but the reaction was just, seismic. People were shocked and disgusted because, like myself, most of the people who go to Tractor Supply have farms. I've got cattle, right. I've got chickens, and it's just, this is not who we are.
After they got caught. Now, what had happened is, in that, again, we don't have Tractor Supply Canada. That is a specific U.S. chain which operates primarily in rural areas, and I think it's probably the functional equivalent of, say, Canadian Tire And because they serve, like, not necessarily, they don't have, they started out as an agricultural supplier and then moved on to other things. They are primarily in small towns in rural areas, or towns like they're generally not located in cities. They're not located in blue areas. They are a corporation. And Rearson, while we're talking here, maybe you might want to take a look and find out what percentage, what the stock ownership percentage is for Tractor Supply. While I'm busy talking here,
Roger.
The whole thing was that their customer base is, well, red United States conservatives. And as a result, you would think that, they would steer clear of DEI, they would steer clear of pride, they would steer clear of all of these loaded social issues. And if you were to walk into a Tractor Supply through the front door, you would not have noticed anything because they don't put anything right out front. Well, as it so turned out, there was Yep, go ahead, tell me.
Oh. I'm going to start with the usual. Vanguard, 11.9%. BlackRock, 6.969%. Capital Research, never heard of them, 5.734. Wellington Management, never heard of them, 4.757. And finally, State Street, 4.159, which gives it a total of 11, 17, 21. Say about 22, maybe 23%.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, so no, they've been very careful. The CEO, and this is probably what gave them away, right? If you go into the front of the store, you wouldn't have noticed anything. But when you go into the employee area, suddenly you go from red conservative America to Wokesville, apparently. And it's so in your face and so prominent that it's impossible to not notice it. It's like to the point where the employees of Tractor Supply have felt the need to be quiet, and of course to report this to somebody who specifically did what I did with Best Buy, and went around to several stores, went into the back area, and started looking around. Then he started to investigate the CEO of Tractor Supply, and he noticed that the CEO of Tractor Supply was one of the most woke motherfuckers that he'd ever encountered. And what was going on is, and they were probably doing this via HR, is that they were trying to sneak in DEI and all of the trans and gay agenda into the store, but not bringing it out front, because if they had brought all of this stuff out to the front and let everybody see it out front, they would have lost a significant amount of their base because of where they're located. Well, that got blown out of the water, and because they're not the first company to do this, and because of where they're located, I mean, the immediate result was, okay, well, we've been through this before. Simply making noise isn't going to do it for them. They are the CEO and the board or the members of the board that are behind this, are not going to back away because a few customers start bleeding. We have to actually go, and this is what happened with Tractor Supply. Regular customers, went in, they spoke to the managers of these various Tractor Supply stores. They phoned them up. They canceled their orders. They did all sorts of stuff. They hit them where it hurt. Their stock value dropped. And of course, they also let Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock know that any attempt to pump money into Tractor Supply to make it look like the boycott wasn't working, wasn't going to fool anybody. And of course, what happened is that, I mean, again, they had to take this down to the field level. They had to go and talk to the general managers of all of these stores and let them know what they were thinking about what went on. And it started going up the line. And what ended up happening is that I suspect that the overwhelming majority of the remaining board that isn't controlled by BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard basically got together. They looked at the CEO and went, no, you ain't fucking doing this. Step down or back off. And that is exactly what happened. And of course, what ended up happening is that the left-wing media started crying their eyes out and saying, oh, well, this is the first time it's ever happened, except, of course, it hasn't happened. Bud Light, and a few other places. Planet Fitness being another one that's been that prominently happened to. But Tractor Supply knew where the bread was buttered, and they immediately backed away. And they backed away. Like the CEO, I don't know if the CEO got fired because he was the one who was clearly behind it. But I mean, he ain't the one calling the shots on this anymore. And that stuff, Tractor Supply, at least publicly, has announced that they are no longer pursuing they are no longer pursuing DEI objectives. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angel.
It's funny you mentioned Budweiser or Bud Light, because I was going to jump in as soon as you had a chance and mention that. That's exactly what needs to be done. We need to start hitting these people in their pocketbooks. Once the money starts flowing less and they start seeing that their agendas are crippling their companies, that's when they're going to start doing, things to go back to normality here. And it's not just in private sectors or in trucking, or it's in entertainment, media, it's across the globe. One thing we've all seen, and especially in the mainstream media, is how the ratings have dropped since the veil is kind of dropping and the overall globe is starting to see the lies. And the DEI also, I mean, that whole agenda is stupid, and it's part of the woke movement. And, diversity is great. There's always been diversity as long as I've been around. I've always seen it in cinema, seen it on TV. I've never experienced, non-diversity. Look, in the 80s, one of the biggest shows in America was Different Strokes. You had a little black midget and a white rich father, right? Doesn't get more diverse than that. Right? And the little black midget became like a superstar. Then, then they copied that with another show, another little black midget. There's a lot of things going on with little black midgets in Hollywood in the 80s. I don't know what it was. But anyway, point not being about black midgets. The point I'm trying to get at is diversity always happened. Women want to come out with this, women thing and this and that. Princess Leia, hello, she was badass. We've always had women. We've always had, the diversity aspect. But the over pushing it into outside of entertainment to like private sectors and trucking and stuff is ridiculous. And it's something that I think once we start hitting them where it hurts and stop buying the products, and that's when the companies are going to stop what they're doing. They're going to start changing. Bud Light is a perfect example. As soon as that whole thing blew up in their face, what do we see? They're apologizing. Now they're doing stuff with UFC. They want to get back into the man crowd because they saw when they dipped their toes in the the alphabet community with Mulvaney or whatever that buffoon's name is. When they saw that they even dipped their toe in there, the backlash was so intense. And what happened? Nobody bought Bud Light for a long, long time. Again, it's about us versus them, and apparently there's more of us if we get united behind a thing that we care about than them. So once we start saying, "Hey, enough is enough," and we start putting our foot down by stopping to buy the products, and that is when they're going to start making that change back to normality. With that said, I'm done, gentlemen. Steve?
Oh,
V?
okay.
It's V. V's
I was
next.
going to say,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's finished with that lock yet.
Huh?
I don't know if you're done
No.
dropping the log, so that's why I was like,
Oh
not
no,
too sure.
I said I was back like 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a quick one.
Take the kids to the pool. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I've always gone with that idea, and I've seen the depression. I've seen. I mean, because I've always said that too. You know, him where it hurts, him in pockets. But at the end of the day, you're talking about an economy, and it's like it's nothing sadder when you see a city turn to a town than an abandoned village. You know, you get that shrinkage because businesses start leaving. You gotta have some incentive. There's always incentive. Yeah, maybe you need to stop buying products. You need to boycott certain people for certain things, but infrastructure. I mean, these people they're gonna stick around anyways. They're gonna sell off their stuff. They're gonna get into other stuff. They're gonna poison other stuff. And if we keep that process, we're gonna have nothing left. So what we need are innovators, more competition. So you got to do, this is capitalism. You got to be able to do something better, faster, cheaper than the next guy. Because these people do rest on their laurels. Okay, they get so comfortable that they act like they're not supposed to do their jobs anymore. Prices double, triple, whatever. And it's just atrocious. We need more innovation. We got to think about replacement. Before you destroy something, you need to be able to replace it. So I hope my grand experiment with TLB Talk that we can replace Facebook. Because we are doing it better. We are doing it faster. Okay? So as I tour across this country, promote my company, yeah, that's where the influence and power should be in my hands, not Facebook's hands. I much would rather have it than Facebook, than Zuckerberg. So that's an example. We need innovation. People who complain about this and that, you need to start working on replacing it. And with that, I'll just pass it on to Mears.
Smash that unmute button, Rearson, and give it to everybody in the Rearson. Wait. Scratch the last part off the
oh my God. Your obsession with anal is whatever. Hey,
it's beyond the pale. I understand. I understand.
Hey.
No judgment here.
Listen. Just all we ask is that you use the right end. The microphone's not supposed to go on the other end.
That is true.
Put it in front of your face. I can't have you pulling an Ace Ventura. All right.
Yes, Satan.
I think I need some Orange Man ham bomb. That's fine. Neither here nor there. What was commendable is the apology that came from the CEO for all of this. I would love to have been a fly on the wall with him, likely telling Vanguard and whoever else that, simply put, we're not doing this because there's already been an immediate backlash. And if you want us to turn into Bud Light, by all means, you're not getting your cash, and no one's going to buy anything from the brand. So that was likely that hard, much needed, necessary phone call. Now, I will have to say as well, too, is that YouTuber Benny Johnson, I'm pretty sure, helped drive the point home.
Yeah, he's good.
Of what's going on with TSC, Tractor Supply Company, or whatever the hell they are. And I think it's safe to say is that he and others like him were probably, they were able to take what the guy who did that on X and ran with it even further. And with the CEO apologizing to its to their customers, that look, this was a big mistake. We're sorry. We realize that the value. We want our customers, and we want to continue to be the place for you to buy your supplies from. Blah blah blah. And so, effectively, they took themselves out of politics, which is what corporations should be doing to begin with anyway. And at the end of the day, between Target again coming up to Canada and flopping miserably, to Bud Light doing something that they should have stayed should have stayed well the fuck away from, and they doubled and tripled down and ultimately ended up losing. The CEO, I think it's safe to say, realized that we're not going to win this one, so let's just not do it. And thank God someone there was able to read the room and read the tea leaves and realize very quickly this isn't going to work and we're not going to win. So I am hoping, and I'm genuinely hoping, that this kind of pushback is going to start to show Fink and company that you may have the cash, but there's a hell of a lot more of us than there is of you. And like the little Dutch boy with the dam, you can only plug up so many holes before that dam is going to really start to break, or more cracks are going to show up and more water is going to leak, and you can't plug them all up. So I am honestly very happy with this. And I'm hoping that as more shit like this comes up, is that the financial elite get smacked down again and again and again. And it continues until they basically back off. Let the market be, I can't call it a free market, because it is regulated quite heavily north and south of the 49th, shall we say, and I'm sure other places on the planet as well. But ultimately, as I've said this with Disney time and time and time again, you can put out the shit like the Ejaculite or the Wokalite or whatever you want to call it, or Solo, or The Last Jedi, whatever the case may be. And at some point, the audience is going to decide how much they're going to like it or how much they're going to get tired of it. And the problem with Star Wars, I'll make this very quick. The problem with Star Wars is Iger, Kennedy, and now Filoni. Leslie Headland should never have been given what she was given, and Filoni should have known that he should have anticipated that there would be a problem because of canon. But that's neither here nor there. So they're starting to slowly learn and figure out that shit. You mean the customer has to be right? We have to give the customer what they want. But if they're going to burn the place down, they're going to burn the place down. Can't stop it. And again, I'm keeping my emotions. I'm going to be a little bit more of a Jedi here. I'm going to keep more control over my emotions and just let the enemy do what they're going to do. So, on that note, Naroki, I don't have.
Wait, hold on. Are you sure? I mean, plugging all those holes. You don't have enough ball gags for that?
Okay, what you talking about, Willis?
You talking about plugging holes? Don't you have ball gags for that?
You need little black midgets for that, V. Plug holes.
Hey, you can have all the midgets you want. I don't care. No judgment.
A female.
Shout out to Gary Coleman, by the way. Rest in peace, Gary Coleman.
A female. Hey, I'll try.
Oh, by the way, guys, I just went through Twitter and I just saw an update. Tommy Robinson does have his passport back, so I don't know whether he's still in Canada or not. But yeah,
shocker, absolute shocker on that.
Yeah, no, he was arrested but not charged. Yes, I know. I'm absolutely.
Oh fuck! Not
so. This definitely came.
I called it. I fucking called it. This will all be sorted out pretty damn fast now the election's done. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, I got nothing more to say. Fuck me.
No, I won't do that. But
I wasn't asking from any of you. None of you.
Okay, so that is it for tonight, folks. I have got to download some videos to put up for the slideshow here. Yeah, no, and just breaking, Tommy Robinson did get he was arrested but not charged. His exact words were, and hold on a second here, I'll bring it up. Tommy Robinson, his post, trobinson@newera.ca. I am unbelievably happy we won after being arrested but not charged and having conditions placed on me that prevented my freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. I'm now able to go wherever I want as an honorary Canadian. To all my detractors, my haters, and supporter of Castro's illegitimate maybe have a wonderful day. I will.
I love it. One great big Trudeau salute back at little Prime Minister.
So yeah,
whoa, that is jail. Put that back in your pants.
It never came out.
So yeah, just all's well as well for Tommy Robinson. I'm actually quite happy for him. One other really strange result is that somehow Canada managed to make it into the semifinals of the of Copa America. Very, very strange.
What the hell's that?
That is the equivalent of the Euros, the European Soccer Champions League, right? They managed to make it at least to the quarterfinals. Maybe
if we can't win at hockey, sure, we'll go with soccer.
Yeah, they're at least in the final 8. I don't know whether they got past that one, but they're going to be playing Argentina next. So I was actually it's a bit of a surprise.
Wait, no, not in soccer. No, you got a better chance with curling, my friend.
Oh yeah, we absolutely do. Which is why I'm a little bit surprised with soccer. I'm kind of going, what? What I'm waiting for next is going to be fucking cricket, just because of how many brown people we have coming in here. Fuck.
All right, yeah.
And I make no apologies for saying that. Don't like it, don't care. You won't be able to fucking find me in about 2.5 weeks anyway.
I'm not going to touch that.
Anyway, no, we don't know where buttfuck nowhere Alberta is anyway. So, anyway, that is it for tonight's show.
I told you it's besides I don't give a shit, and somewhere in the area is going to be the Baron of Fox.
Yeah, they call that the neither region on the human body.
Well, that's my sex life at home.
All right, so that is it for tonight. All right, that is it. That is it for tonight, folks. Thank you all for listening. I will be posting topics for 385 tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, and we will be starting at a regular